Welcome to Will and Mark's Healthy Sports Obsession. I'm Will Hubner here with Mark Mashashik. We are two doctors of physical therapy, and we are here to answer your PT questions as well as give our take on current sporting events from a health perspective. As always, send your questions to willandmarkshso@gmail.com, and we will answer them on the show. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode. Lot to talk about today. We're going to give you some fantasy updates from the podcast league.
Get excited about that.
We're going to talk about just big games coming up. 2 weeks left in the NFL season, kind of the impact of the games, who's going to win each division. We're going to talk about Eli Manning a little bit.
Sure.
Is he worthy of the Hall of Fame? Go over some MLB free agent signings. What's the impact on their new teams? And then we also have a special guest today, Spencer Kalman, who is a PT student in his first year. He's also a high school and college basketball referee. So we're going to talk to him about health and sports. And
avid New York sports fan as well.
All right, so let's get started. Fantasy update, a big showdown. Will versus Mark in the semifinals of the first ever podcast league. And Mark had a good showing, 93 points. But I squeaked it out with 153.
Yeah, it took me out. I'm eating crow on it. That's okay. I say I deserve credit for being, I can't believe, I should get an award for drafting OBJ in the first round and making it this far.
Yeah.
He stinks.
You're not getting a reward.
I know.
But you can play for third place next week. It's always,
for me, if you're not first, you're last. I'm Ricky Bobby through and through.
If I had to thank anybody for this championship season that I'm putting together, I'd like to start off by thanking my brother Tom, who I know listens. Wouldn't have been there with him because I traded him Keenan Allen and Matt Breida for Joe Mixon and Lamar Jackson pretty early on in the year, and that one seemed to pay off pretty well. And then I also got Chris Carson and Cooper Kupp from Team Smith, who's in it now. He's playing Spencer Kalman.
So the other side of the championship is Spencer, who's going to be on the show later today, so we can talk a little fantasy with him, too. He's playing against another podcast, former, been on the pod, Shane Smith, our resident orthotist. So
it's in a dogfight. They're Breeze and Cook need about 30 points to win it.
A little more than 30, 34 for Shane. So Shane gets 34 between Breeze and Cook. Spencer's dead.
So Spencer's a little bit anxious on the podcast today. He's going to be worried about that. Let's go into just two weeks left, right? NFL season. We still got divisions that just we don't know what's going to happen yet. So Eagles and Cowboys play each other next week.
That's a showdown, both 7-7.
Yep.
So basically, the winner of this game, it's a playoff game.
Essentially, I mean, the Eagles are playing the Giants week 17, and the Cowboys play the Redskins. So you would think those are given wins.
But even if the Cowboys beat the Eagles in this game, and the Eagles win the next game, whether the Cowboys win or lose, they get it. The winner of this game will be the representative of the East. Regardless,
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
because it'll be the last team that won the head-to-head. So yeah, the playoffs are starting early this year.
Bills and Patriots have a showdown week 16 in New England. Same thing.
Same exact story.
Win that series.
They could take the Bills could get the
win the division. Bye. It's been a long time since the Patriots.
When's the last time the Bills won the division?
I can't think.
I'm guessing it's before either of us were born.
Ravens have 2 games. The magic number for them is 1 to clinch home field advantage throughout. They play at the Browns and then versus the Steelers. Packers play at the Vikings. Another big game that could decide the division.
What are their records? They're
Packers are a game ahead of the Vikings. Vikings with an injury to Dalvin Cook. He's kind of been dealing with an injury for the past couple weeks. Hurt a lot of fantasy owners this week because he didn't play.
He won't hurt you next week, though. He won't hurt you next week. That's the plus. Because if you played him this week, you're out, which I did. So
very true. Week 17, Titans and Texans, big game. Titans could sneak over the Texans with a win there. And then 49ers and Seahawks will kind of probably determine that division as well.
So the Texans just beat the Titans this week. So week 17 would still be the tiebreaker. They got to win that one. The winner of that game is going to be in. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
And
should be good.
49ers lost to the Falcons. Falcons are like
That was a big loss.
Yeah, they're like they're like a good team with a bad record though. It's like not it's hard to rag on them for it.
Yeah, as a Ravens fan, I think if we clinch and get home field, I'm not too concerned with many teams, but the Seahawks would be one of them. Want to go MLB free agents?
Okay.
So big impact. So Rendon signs a monster deal with the Angels.
Big signing.
Yeah.
You know, who do you think's the happiest person about that in the world?
Mike Trout.
Mike Trout's got protection, but real protection, not old Albert Pujols protection.
You know they're still paying Albert Pujols $18 million a year.
And how long is that contract for?
He's got 2 more years on it.
Yeesh.
Yeah, big contract. So how do you think that impacts the Angels?
1995. Sorry, it took me forever to look up the Bills thing. Last time they won the division, 1995. Sorry, back to the Angels. I think it makes them 5 pitchers short of a playoff team, but a little more fun to watch. You got maybe Ohtani stays healthy, and you bat. How do you bat? You bat Trout 2, Rendon 3, Ohtani 4, Pujols 4, Ohtani 5. Was Ohtani even good? Am I overplaying Ohtani? I feel
Ohtani was good, yeah.
But he got hurt. When did he get hurt? He missed a lot of the season?
He did. They have Justin Upton as well. They have Goodwin, so you could lead off Goodwin.
He doesn't usually lead off, though. I feel like he's not on base
Where
enough.
else are you going to put him?
Lead off,
bottom of the lineup?
Yeah, 9. He's your second leadoff man.
Then you got Simmons leading off?
I think so, right? No,
I don't know.
How are the
Their
wheels?
lineup got a lot better, but like you said, no starting pitching. Their best pitcher last year, their ace on paper is
What do you
Heaney.
I think we're both like pseudo Nats fans. When our team's not in it, we bandwagon with the Nats, being people who live near the Nats and work close with the Nats. How it played out, losing Rendon, getting Strasburg. Would you flip it if you could, or are you happy with the way it turned out?
I think you're happy getting either one of them. I would probably flip it if I could. I think Rendon is a 5-tool player. I think he can do it all. He's also a great clubhouse guy. I know a lot of the players, like Turner, I think, was wearing shirts like re-sign Rendon or something like that.
I think you could say the same thing about Strasburg, though.
The issue for me with Strasburg and really any starting pitcher is I don't like giving starting pitching long-term deals.
I agree with it. And
Strasburg already has an injury history.
Yeah, we both agree on that. But I think the short term is what I'm looking at now. I think winning again next year, it's the better signing. But you're right. The long term, I think any long-term pitching deals probably hurt you.
But you can't do anything about it. If you don't give Strasburg a 7-year deal,
you won't get
somebody's going to give him.
Same Red Sox with Price. We're eating it now. We're trying to get rid of him already. But if you look at it from a market standpoint, there's some still pretty darn good third baseman on the market you can go get. There's all the starting pitchers are locked up now.
Right. So potential guy still out there is Donaldson.
And can he stay healthy is the question. But I think you get Donaldson and Strasburg, it's better than Rendon and whoever you would else got as a pitcher.
Right. Pitchers are more valuable, but it's just a term of 4 seasons from now. Is having Strasburg on your team going to hurt the team?
Yeah.
Or is it you're just trying to win it right now again?
I mean, if we're going to be honest, it's probably the truth. Pitchers who have injury history over 35, it's not excellent. But
he's changed as he came up as a velocity pitcher, and now he's more of an off-speed guy right now.
You're right.
Velocity's already down. It's not going any higher.
He doesn't look like Bartolo Colon to me. It's just a different. It's a different.
200 pounds shy.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about those guys that can pitch forever, but I don't know. I think it's a win now mentality. We got a window. We're going to try to do this.
So do we have enough pieces right now to win it all?
Yeah.
To repeat?
Yeah. It's the same team without maybe your best offensive player, but I think they've got that chemistry thing. I think that's what's special about them. I still think they'll still go at somebody.
Yeah, they'll still be good. They still have time to sign.
And dude, it's baseball, dude. We've got trades affect baseball. You never know what July is going to bring. If they're in the running, they could go. I don't know they go get Jose Abreu from the White Sox or something. I don't know.
I would much rather have the starting pitching that the Nats have and maybe a little bit less offensive power than what the Angels are doing and have a ton of offensive firepower and no pitching.
Yeah. I don't think the Angels are playing for the short term, though. They say we got Rendon and Trout. Let's try to develop some pitching right now. See if they come up, and they're in the opposite boat. Well, if they can put together a 500 record before the playoffs, and then maybe at the deadline they're going to grab some pitchers.
All right, well, talk to me about the guys who are getting starting pitching right now. Garrett Cole goes to the Yankees with a big contract.
That's a bummer. How does that change them? I think that makes the Yankees really good.
Oh, yeah. I thought they were one of the most talented teams, maybe the most talented team on paper last year.
Right.
But they didn't have the starting pitching to back it up.
Right.
And now you're adding arguably top 5 pitcher in Cole with Tanaka, healthy Tanaka, with Severino.
Don't forget Paxton. Paxton's maybe the best of those guys.
Paxton, AJ Happ still. So
yeah, and you played the whole year without Stanton, and you get Stanton back. But again, I hate selling a team on paper that we haven't seen it from yet. Severino has injuries. Tanaka had injuries. Stanton's always had injuries. Is this something that do we need to see it before we believe it? As a diehard Red Sox fan, I say yeah, I got to see it before I believe it. We're in a mini rebuild right now. We're going to see what they do with Mookie, but I'm not happy to see Garrett Cole go to the Yankees.
Yeah, I mean, they got young talent, too, in terms of LeMahieu was really good last year. Urshela came up from the minors last year and played really well. Still, Aaron Judge we haven't mentioned. I mean, they have some...
It's hard to hate Aaron Judge. Being a Red Sox fan, I just don't like that Aaron Judge is on the team because I can't hate him. Like, I want to hate... Like, Paul O'Neill, it's so easy to hate him. Jeter was so respectable, but you could still, like, despise him as a Red Sox fan. I can't... He's, like, cuddly. Like, I don't know what it is. I can't hate Aaron Judge, and I really want to. It's bugging me.
Yeah, I like that he takes what they give it to him. Like, he has no problem just, like, shooting in the gap for a double opposite field. No trouble taking a walk, too.
Dude, he played wide receiver in high school. How scary was that?
Yeah. What is he, like 6'9"?
6'8"?
He's bigger than Stanton, who's also a monster.
Stanton's like 6'5", like 235. Judge's like 6'8", 270.
Yeah. I would think Yankees right now are potentially favorites to win it all next year.
I would say so.
But they're kind of like the Browns from this year. All the talent in the world, Browns are going to be awesome, and then they find a way to fall apart.
Garrett Cole's definitely more solid than Baker Mayfield is right now. But I don't know if you saw the saddest thing of the weekend was the Browns players screaming to the Arizona sideline, "Come get me," led by team captain Jarvis Landry, verbally making a trade. The team said they're committed to Kitchens. I think that's a ploy. I think Kitchens is still going to be gone. I don't know why they're saying they're committed to him. He's losing this team.
Yeah.
Who'd they lose to this? Arizona. Yeah, that's why they were shouting the Arizona sideline. Not a good loss.
Yeah. Good day for Nick Chubb.
Yeah. He probably won me a fantasy league. I know we went on to baseball, but just on the weekend, any big fantasy, like they saved you or they busted you?
I mean, Lamar started off on Thursday with a 37-point lead for me.
Yeah. I got to throw some credit to my buddy Jameis. I live by him. I die by him. In the past, I've always died by him. Right now, he's thriving for me. I've always believed in him. Thank you, Jameis, for coming through. Alshon Jeffrey last week, his dud killed two of my teams. I had successful Liz Frank surgery today, though. So good luck, Alshon, on your recovery. I'll never draft you again.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Carson had a couple touchdowns. Kenyon Drake, who I didn't have, but I had somebody who was playing with him, 5 touchdowns.
On my bench.
Not good.
I had good players ahead of him. You got to give me that. But I think I started Raheem Mostert, Carson, and Chubb over him. But my God, 5 touchdowns. In a league where I'm going to lose. That would have been the difference maker. Can't win them all. Can't win them all.
Yeah. Let's go back to, so the Phillies got a couple of guys, Zach Wheeler and Didi Gregorius.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Does it make them good?
I think Philly's just throwing money, or they're like a I don't know, they're like a young kid that just won the lottery or something. Just throwing money around at stuff that without, I don't know if it all meshes. They're like the anti-Nats in that, like, I don't know if they mesh well.
Yeah, the Nats have a tendency, at least last year, to get the best out of their players. Howie Kendrick plays out of his mind. Suzuki plays really well. They get key hits out of Gomes. Brian Dozier. All these guys seem to play well at the right time.
So we're looking at
Phillies have guys who do the opposite.
We got McCutchen. Is he over the hill?
Yeah, they got McCutchen, Jay Bruce, and Bryce Harper on the outfield.
I think Kingerly at third base is a good young kid.
But they have Segura now. Segura's going to play second.
Segura's moving to second. Didi's at short.
Yeah.
They could flip that too. I thought.
And Reese Hoskins at first. And then Real Muto. I mean, on paper, they have a good lineup.
I feel like they've got all the pitchers, like, not at the right time in their career. I feel like Nola isn't as good as he used to be.
Arrieta's not that good anymore.
Is he going to have surgery? Did he have surgery?
I'm not sure. Nick Pivetta. I mean, yeah, their pitching is what's kind of the downfall. So you can't blame them for going out and getting Wheeler. They made their infield a little bit stronger. I mean, these are good moves, but is it the moves that are going to take them to the next level? Maybe not.
I think the Nats have a better team right now. I do.
And then the other one was Bumgarner going to the Diamondbacks.
He's been on a bad team for the past couple of years, and I guess he figured, kind of used to this bad team thing. Why go to a winner? Just go out to the desert.
They got him now. It's probably their ace, Robbie Ray.
Robbie Ray's a good pitcher still.
Luke Weaver. Yeah.
I don't know who those other pitchers are. That's not good.
Yeah. Mike Leake.
They're like a minor league team. Thank you for teaching JD Martinez to hit for us. We appreciate the help.
Yeah, they got some issues. Anything else you think we should cover with the free agent market? Where's Donaldson going?
I think here's probably the favorite, right?
Nats could use him for sure.
Again, that's a risky situation with the health.
Yeah. What do you think about your Red Sox?
Yeah, I think it's a mini rebuild. I don't think they're quitting on it, but I think they're trying to see what they can get from Mookie. They don't want to give him the Bryce Harper contract. As a Red Sox fan, I would hate to see Mookie go. But if it's the right thing to do, I understand it. If you can get top talent for him and you're going to lose him in a year anyway, go do it and mini rebuild. See if you can package him with Price to get Price out of town. So even if we have to pay half of Price's contract still, probably worth it if we can get him out.
How much goes into the mind? So if you're the Red Sox GM, right, and you have a lot of talent on the Red Sox, a lot of talent there.
Oh yeah, young talent too.
But you see what the Yankees have. Does that change your mindset at all? We don't have enough talent to take on the Yankees right now. So do we do a rebuild year now, or do we just go with what we got and try to build on it right now? When did the Red Sox decide to rebuild?
I think that's the whole baseball thing. Is just that trading is so active in baseball compared to other sports. You can ride it to the line and see how your team is. You can come out and see how you look in April, and things aren't starting to look good. You're shopping Mookie for half a season. You're not going to get as much for him, but
right. You would think if you're going to get rid of Mookie, get rid of him now.
What's the difference between now and half a season? Someone's buying him to use him for the playoffs regardless, right? So what
if you get a team like the Phillies who are throwing around money all the time?
Yeah.
And they say, let's stick him in center. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And they're like, now halfway through the year, they're not in contention. Now you lost out on that potential.
I'm not comfortable with having this conversation because I love Mookie so much. He's my favorite player. I want to be on the Red Sox, but I want the Red Sox to do the right thing. I don't want to comment on it. I just don't. It's bumming me out to talk.
He's leaving, Mark.
If you hear it in my voice, it's just bumming me out to talk about it. I love Mookie.
It's a rough time for New Englanders.
Yeah.
You got Tom Brady.
It just hasn't been easy for us the past 20 years.
Tom Brady looking like he's old. Clearly, the Patriots are cheating to beat the Bengals.
Yeah, can we talk about that? Did you see the video? You missed the video.
You were telling me about the video.
Yeah, so it looks pretty legit that they're just staring at the sideline for no reason. But who knows? Is this a rogue Patriot employee, or is he the puppet behind the strings of Bill Belichick? I don't know the answer to that. He's always trying to get that edge.
You didn't ask me about the Orioles' outlook this season?
Yeah, give it to me.
Not good.
Any good prospects, though? Could you talk up some prospects,
Nothing.
maybe?
I was thinking about this the other day because Bundy went to the Angels now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that helps. We didn't talk about Bundy. Helps a little bit.
A little bit. We'll see.
You get him around some good players, maybe it lifts his spirits.
And then Kevin Gausman, our other stud who was in our minor league system for a while, just got a 1-year deal with... I can't remember who it was, but he was on the Braves. Didn't really pan out. Just got a 1-year deal. These are guys that we were not willing to trade to save our lives in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Both duds. And now we're stuck with Chris Davis for $25 million a year.
How many more?
Well, just 5 more years.
No, come on.
It's bad. Our best player, Trey Mancini, great player. He should be on a team that he can do something with.
I really don't see how they can possibly be good. With just Chris Davis contract hanging over their head. Is there a chance that he actually turns around and is good again? Can we get him back on Adderall? Maybe he has to illegally do the Adderall for it to be effective for him. He was playing really good when he was getting. So he's on Adderall, but he needed a prescription to not. You're not feeling
like 50 home runs. Yeah, he got suspended for I think the playoffs
because he was using the Adderall.
Right.
But now he's legally using the Adderall, so it's allowed.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. I remember he was legally doing it, and then the prescription went out, so he got suspended.
Gotcha. Okay. I think maybe he needs to for some reason, he plays good on illegal drugs.
Play around with the
dosage. Maybe some more drugs.
Maybe we need a pharmacist on here to talk about what we can do for Chris Davis.
I think we'd bring in Brady Anderson to talk to him about a pharmacological plan. Brady Anderson reference.
Got a brother here commenting, good young pitching in lower levels, just a few years away. We don't want anybody good now. We have no chance of being good for the next 5 years. Need our minor leaguers to be our minor league system really shouldn't even be in our minor league system yet. Should be all just high draft picks coming up.
No, I like the strategy. I'm all about the rebuild.
Yeah, it's been our strategy for most of the last 20 years.
Oh, did we talk Eli?
Oh yeah, we didn't talk
We're going to talk Eli.
Let's definitely talk about Eli.
Okay, so this is it's just the conversation. Eli, with a 17-year NFL career, 2-time Super Bowl champion and MVP. Does he deserve to be a golden jacket wearer, a Hall of Famer?
Well, let's first start off with just overall feeling, whether you feel like he should or not. Do you think he's going to make it into the Hall of Fame?
I do.
I do as well. And now let's go into the debate.
Okay.
All right, so where do you stand on this?
Just go for Hall of Fame. A lot of times, I just got to go with my gut for Hall of Fame. If I'm voting, I'm like, does he belong with his face and try next to people? And I say, yeah. I'm pro Eli. I think the win this weekend was big for it, though.
Who'd they beat this weekend?
I don't know.
Dolphins?
Somebody like that. But it made him 121 and 121 in his career. It broke him to 500. I feel like under 500 would be a tougher sell. You're clearly opposing my view, so let's have it.
Well, what'd you give your main arguments for why he should be in, other than your gut?
My gut. So 2-time Super Bowl MVP.
Right.
7th in all-time passing.
Let's see. He was, 7th all-time passing yards, 56,000.
7th in touchdown passes.
8th in touchdown passes.
366. I got 7th.
Says every eligible quarterback who's had those numbers over 50,000 yards and 300 touchdown passes has made it into the Hall of Fame.
Correct. I got 7th. 366. What do you got for a number?
362.
Yeah, that's not counting these last 3 games.
Okay.
So yeah, he moved up to 7th.
He passed 4 more touchdowns last 3 games. That's impressive.
Yeah, everyone ahead of him on that list, and look at the guys behind him. John Elway, Hall of Famer, 2 Super Bowl. Elway, Hall of Famer, 2-time Super Bowl MVP, just like Eli, has less passing yards and less passing touchdowns.
All right, should we go over the argument against?
Sure.
So he's never been the best quarterback in the league. Ever. Not even close.
I think there's a lot of Hall of Famers that have never been the best. You go through periods where the best is over 10 years.
Mark, so his best 5 years, consecutive 5 years, right? 2011 to 2015. During that span, he's 19th in the NFL in passer rating, 20th in completion percentage, and 15th in wins. 7th in touchdown passes, but first interceptions. These are the best years of his career.
Why are they the best? Where does that come from?
It's the best 5 years that he's had. If you looked at his stats, these are the best 5 years. He's never graded over a full season. He's played 14 full seasons, finished in the top 10 in passer rating once. That was 7th in 2011. He also ranked 20th or worst in the passer rating 6 times. Never had a passer rating over 93.6. And if you're looking at guys that are going to be inducted with him potentially, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, his other older brother, Peyton, Phillip Rivers, and Ben Roethlisberger, they all have at least 8. He's had it once. A passer rating of over 93.6.
Yeah, so he's a 92 guy. What's the big deal?
Yeah, I mean, his 3.09 interception percentage ranks closer to the bottom since he entered the NFL than the top, 49th best out of 73 quarterbacks who've thrown at least 1,000 passes. He's got longevity, which helps him. But to me, his stats just don't.
Everyone with his stats is in the Hall of Fame.
His 2 Super Bowls that he had, the 2 Super Bowl MVPs, not even good season. He threw for 1 touchdown the second time. That was the game against. Was that the one against the Patriots where they only scored like 17 points?
They won both against the Patriots.
Yeah, one of them they only scored like 17 points. I think he had 1 touchdown, and the other one he had like a very mediocre passer rating. And once again, so I don't know. To me, I don't even know if he deserved both MVP trophies.
I definitely don't think he deserved the first MVP trophy. Justin Tuck hurt Brady. He hit him 4 times. He definitely deserved that one. But that's beside the point on my argument. I think as I look at a Giants fan and you look at the history of the Giants, someone who's been a Giants fan for a long time, he's among the greatest Giants ever. And I think as a Giants fan, if I was a Giants fan, I'd want to see him in there. And I think it's the hardest position to play in all of professional sports. So I think quarterbacks who have done it well over a long time do deserve an edge over other positions. I know we say we're easy on the quarterbacks. They always get in. Man, he's 7th in touchdowns. He's 7th in passing yards. He's won 2 Super Bowls.
But that's just longevity. A lot, which is hard to do.
That's a quality, longevity.
But longevity of not winning. Overall, 500 record.
Yeah, that's why I said that game was big. Got him to 500. Yeah, I think it's hard to do. I think he's a special player. I think he's a major part of the history of the NFL, and that's where it comes down to. That Hall of Fame is like a mecca of football. Like being a major part of you're a major part of the history of the NFL.
Answer me this: how much of the Patriots dynasty that he kind of took down impacts his getting in? Like if he just took down, random, just a couple teams. It wasn't like how great the Patriots were back then. He didn't take them down. It was just two other teams. You think that affects it at all?
I'm sure it gives it a little push. I also think there's what's it called? The effect of it being in recent memory. I feel like the fact that he's been so bad the past couple of years is giving you and other people an effect that like, well, this guy's really not that good. He doesn't deserve to be in. I feel like as time passes, people are going to look back at Eli and be like, this guy slung it with the best of them in the NFL. He took down 2 championships for a huge fanship in New York. And people are going to want to see him in.
Got a comment here talking about Joe Flacco.
No.
Terrible quarterback. Not terrible. Mediocre quarterback. Super Bowl MVP. If he gets one more Super Bowl MVP with Denver, he gets in, you're saying?
Where is he on those stats lists?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like 100th? Like not even close to
He's
Eli.
one of those guys like Eli that just seems to get second and third and fourth and fifth chances.
He's like Eli consistently threw for like 25 and 30 touchdowns. Flacco consistently like 17 touchdowns.
Eli's had some very good receivers, though. Flacco's best receiver might be Anquan Bolden one year, but that was at the tail end of Anquan Bolden, though, still. And then, like, Mike Wallace.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, but not studs. I mean,
did he ever have Todd
Odell Beckham?
Odell's good.
One of the
He's
best.
better with Eli, though.
You think?
Are you kidding?
We haven't seen it. Well, we've only seen him with him and Baker.
And Geno Smith.
Okay, I'll give you... Eli's better than Geno, I'll give you that.
Yeah, I don't know. It speaks to Eli that Odell's been stinking it up.
I think part of the problem is that it's too easy to get into the Hall of Fame.
Come on. How many Ravens are in the Hall of Fame? Do you know them?
I'll go Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, because he just got in recently. I don't know. Jamal Lewis, maybe?
Anyone in there that you don't think deserves to be in there? I can name all the Patriots. They all deserve to be in there.
Like guys like...
Richard Seymour hasn't gotten in? I think he deserves to be in.
Is it a matter of, like, guys like Phillip Rivers and Ben Roethlisberger, in my opinion, do not deserve to get in?
I think it's the hardest position to play. I think they get credit.
So guys like that who've never won a Super Bowl.
I would also.
Roethlisberger's won a couple.
Roethlisberger's won a few.
Yeah.
Rivers,
should Rivers get in?
He would. I would put him in a slot below Eli because of the losses, but I'd still put him in. It's the hardest position to play in professional sports.
I think Rivers is a much better quarterback than Eli.
Statistically, no. He's got less yards and less touchdowns. Same amount of years.
I would take Rivers, for sure. How about Breeze?
Breeze.
Surefire, right?
Surefire, yeah. He could finish as the number one in all the stats. And he's got the Super Bowl. And he's not done. He's on a good team playing well right now.
Yeah. I don't know. To me, Eli, it's not even close.
Yeah, send in your comments on the email. Can we put up
Ogden, one of the other Ravens that got in.
Maybe arguably the greatest offensive lineman who's ever played.
But I think to get in the Hall of Fame, you should have to dominate your position. You should have to be a top 3 player over a period of, I don't know, maybe 5 years or so to be in the Hall of Fame. You can't have one good season and be like Flacco shouldn't get in. He had one great season. That's it.
He had like 5 good games. No, I think there should be. I don't think you have to be the best player, because then you get like a span like what LeBron was in the NBA, and you say, well,
so Phillip Rivers could be maybe the 6th.
I don't even think you have to be the best on your team. Like Scottie Pippen should be a Hall of Famer. Like during his best years, he was never even the best player on his team. You don't think Scottie should be in? Like maybe the best defender in the NBA for a couple of years.
Debate. You know how I feel about old school versus new school.
But I'm just saying, like, you can't say, like, you could just be in an era where you're with a superstar. It doesn't mean you don't deserve your greatness, too.
You're telling me Scottie Pippen could shut down Kevin Durant or LeBron James right now? I think 0% chance. In today's game, you put Scottie Pippen the way he played back then, no chance he could shut down those guys.
I would agree with you on a lot of the standpoints that those guys can't play with the guys today, but I would take Scottie in that one.
You tell me he can lock down Durant.
I'm not. Nobody can lock down Durant. Pre-injury Durant, nobody can lock him down. There's no one in the NBA who can do it now. So, but I would say he would be still among the best. If we had Scotty in his prime, would be among. If I could choose anyone today or Scotty, I think I'd still take Scotty.
You take him over Kawhi Leonard.
That's okay. I'll take Kawhi, but Scotty second.
All right.
Dude, Scotty's buff now.
Well, comment. Do you think Eli should get in or not?
Yeah, let's put up a Facebook vote.
Any other people you think that are in that shouldn't be? Like guys like Joe Namath was somebody who's in the Hall of Fame. He has a record that's under 500. I think there's two others. I can't remember who they are. But there are a couple of quarterbacks who are under 500 that got in.
Yeah, Broadway Joe's got to be in.
Our guest coming on in just a second says Scotty can lock Kevin Durant down. So we'll have to talk to him about that.
Yeah.
But you want to give Spencer a
you get him.
intro, and
you
I'll
get him on the line. I'm
start
gonna talk. I'll get some background on Spencer. So tonight we got Spencer Kalman. He's a first-year DPT student at Murphy Deeming College of Health Sciences in Staunton, Virginia. He graduated with a bachelor's in rehab science from George Mason. Currently works as a varsity basketball referee in the Virginia High School League for two different associations. He will be working a post-grad tournament in February, which will have NBA prospects from teams all over the country, such as IMG Academy, which is known for the best prospects in the football and basketball, Mensa Newton Military Academy, Mount Zion, and Scotland Prep. He hopes to eventually become an NCAA Division I basketball official. He is an avid sports fan and following the Knicks, Rangers, Mets, Jets, and George Mason basketball. All right, let's get him on the line. See if we're getting Spencer in here.
Try to get it right the first time. This time,
yep.
No, Jeff, the wrong number. Yeah.
It's all right. This looks like Spencer.
Hello?
Spencer, we've got you on Will and Mark's HSO.
How are you?
We're doing great.
Yeah, hey, Spencer.
Spencer, before we get started, we just want just for you to give us a little bit of your career arc that brings us to two of your bigger passions. With what's the path that led you to bring you to physical therapy school, and sort of kind of go through your pathway to that, and also what brought you to your passions of basketball refereeing.
All right, so to start off with leading to physical therapy school, I went to George Mason University, and I applied as a computer science major and took a computer science class in my senior year of high school at South Lakes in Reston, and I hated it. So as soon as I applied, I switched my major, and I met someone who told me, therapeutic recreation, it's a good major. It can help you get into like OT or PT if you wanted to go that route. So I took some of those classes, and I mean, they were really easy, but I was like, this is not what I want to do. I don't want to go the OT route. So I was like, is there any way I can meet all the prerequisites for PT school and without taking any summer classes? And honestly, there was nothing my freshman year. The only major was kinesiology, and you had to take prereqs throughout every single summer in order for you to get into PT school right after you graduate.
People don't know it's not easy to get into PT school.
No, not at all.
Very rigorous.
After that, my sophomore year, they came out with a new major called rehab science, and it met all my needs. It met the chemistry requirement, the physics requirement, the bio requirement. It had gait, it had biomechanics, it had exercise endocrinology, and I fell in love with those classes. And I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to pursue the PT route. And then I applied to PT school, applied early decision to Murphy Deming. It's not Deming, it's Deming, Mark.
Sorry. Yep, missed that one. It's not a program that I'm overly familiar with, so you'll have to teach me more about it as we go.
In Stanton, Virginia, and I love the program. They use the interprofessional approach. So we take classes with the PAs and the OTs, and I started in the summer. I took anatomy with the OTs, and then just took some classes with OTs this semester, and then we'll start taking classes with the incoming PAs starting in January.
That's excellent.
But
favorite class of semester one?
Favorite class probably was the foundations of clinical exercise. Just because he's the musculoskeletal professor, and he's a cool dude. OCS, SCS, worked with sports and stuff. Really cool guy, and he's actually the president of one of the associations for reffing down there. So
that's a great contact for you to have.
Yeah, really, really good connections. But yeah, I love that class. And there was also kinesiology. That was really fun. We had an engaging professor. But the only thing I wish is that for physiology, she incorporated more of like the PT stuff. I don't know if your programs had that, but it was just like dry material day after day.
I think physiology is very important understanding for our field, but I think a lot of us, if we were absolutely in love with the physiology more than we were with the big picture stuff, we might have leaned a little more towards medicine or something. So I think a lot of PTs share that sentiment. I don't know if I'm going to get hammered for saying that, but yeah. Anatomy, big picture is cool.
It's extremely important. I just think that we had another professor that just left before I came to Murphy Deming, and he had his DPT as well as a PhD in anatomy and physiology. So he incorporated that into his tests and stuff. So I missed out on that, but I still had a pretty good professor for physiology.
Well, it sounds like a good first semester for you, and we wish you good PT grades moving forward. How about the basketball refereeing? What brought you to that? And tell us some of your goals for it.
So basketball, I grew up with my dad and my brother, who diehard basketball fans. My dad coming from New York, and I'm a diehard Knicks fan, Mets, Jets, Rangers. But although all those teams are pretty horrible right now, but I still try to follow them as best as I can.
That's a good fan. You got to stick it through rain and shine.
Yeah, I try.
It'll mean so much more when the Knicks win in 2054.
I don't know if I'll even be alive if I see a championship, but I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, so I played AU and travel basketball growing up, and I played freshman basketball for South Lakes, and I knew that this is not what I'm probably not going to play varsity. I'm not good enough, and so I took upon reffing. My dad and my brother were like doing recreational reffing here and there, some weekdays and the weekends, and I was like, wow, that sounds pretty fun, and you still are engaged in the game of basketball and making some money at the same time. So I started reffing like for RYBL and the
What's RYBL?
County Reston Youth Basketball League.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I started there, and then my dad joined Cardinal Basketball Officials Association, who covers all the refs for Northern Virginia, like basketball, like the Virginia High School League. And when my senior year of high school, I took the test. I took the the on-court evaluation, and they loved me. Started working some freshman and JV games, and then my sophomore year of college, I became the youngest varsity basketball official in the Northern Virginia area. They never took anyone younger than I was, and I was 20. Yeah, I was 19 or 20 at that point. So started reffing like varsity basketball games in the area.
So take us through some of your opinions and how you feel about basketball as a whole from a referee standpoint in general. What are some emotions that come up when you see LeBron's travel that doesn't get called?
I just think that a lot of people don't understand the rules, and I mean, we as officials we put our nose into the books every single season before the season even begins, and if we miss a call, it's on our fault. And we have to. There's so many rules out there that people don't understand, and if the coaches aren't putting their noses into the rule book, and we're putting our nose into the rule book. I just don't see how that's fair. How they can argue every single call, and then once people argue the call, it like in the high school league, and then like the pros do it as well. So the people in the high school league see the pros doing it, and it's just like a pyramid, and it's unfair. I mean, we put so much work into it, and the coaches need to do the same. And I think it starts with the coaches and the parents. I
agree. My listeners don't know this. My birth certificate says Springfield, Massachusetts, the birthplace of basketball. And I think Dr. James Naismith rolls in his grave when he sees a travel like that not get called.
Oh, yeah.
Fundamentals is in my blood.
Yeah, speaking about Springfield, Mass, my dad goes to the Basketball Hall of Fame every single year and collects autographs. Huge Patrick Ewing guy. I probably told you this during PT, but in case the viewers don't know, but if you see his room, big basketball guy, big basketball collector, goes every single year since I was born. Like, I think my brother was born in 1992 and hasn't missed a year. And
I remember the year Jordan went into the Hall of Fame. I think it was like the biggest thing that's ever happened in Springfield, Massachusetts. I remember it being the biggest thing.
He didn't go to the enshrinement ceremony for that year. just because it was so expensive. But he goes just for like the autographs and seeing all the Hall of Famers.
Hey Spencer, we have a question from one of our audience members. It says, have you ever made a makeup foul call?
I don't know what he means by makeup.
So if you make a call out of bounds or a foul on somebody and you realize like you kind of screwed up or you got it wrong, that you then make a call on the next possession to get it back. You make a weak foul call.
Or if you miss a call, do you give them a call on the next one that's maybe not as bad?
So yeah, one of the things that we do and then we emphasize for reffing is to promote game management and emphasize game management. So if you make a mistake on one end of the court and it's like an iffy play and you're like, it could have been a block, could have been a charge, and you come down the court and the same thing happens, you usually go the same way. Like, let's say it was a charge on one end, go a charge on the other end just to even it out. But
regardless of the position.
One of the hardest things. That's one of the hardest things to get when becoming like a new official is promoting game management.
It must be like a flow of the game. You've really got to be.
Yeah, that's the thing with basketball as well. With NFL, you kind of have like, I mean, with every like sport, you have people covering certain areas. But the game of basketball is constant flow, and you have to make a decision right on the spot. And if you don't make it right on the spot, the ball's already going down on the other end of the court. So, I mean, I think basketball, maybe even like hockey, is probably the hardest to appreciate.
Do you find
it's just a fast game?
Do you find that you tend to call, what I've seen, especially in college and especially high school, is that if somebody attempts to take a charge, like 90% of the time it's called a charge, regardless of if their feet are moving, things like that. It seems like charges get rewarded quite a bit more than guys.
I mean, I think from my perspective, I think that I call more blocks than charges. I think, and I even call a lot of no calls. I think kids nowadays are leaning back, expecting the contact, rather than just waiting to get hit. And I'm not gonna have a call there. There's no contact. Kids are just flopping. I'm just gonna let play on. But I mean, with high schools, there's no like restricted area, so
right.
you really don't have to look into that. But with college, you have the restricted area, so you have three things. You have to make sure the defender's set, the offensive player is not out of control, and then he's outside the restricted area. So there's a lot of things that go into play then. But for high school, I feel like it's pretty even. Maybe I even call more blocks, but I don't know what you guys have seen.
Yeah. Here's like you've already been talking about it. You know, it's not fair that you spend your nose in the books and study all the rules, and maybe sometimes the coaches aren't and the players definitely aren't. It seems like it can become a little bit of an emotional aspect in terms of when you're reffing a game. You got coaches yelling at you, players constantly kind of arguing foul calls. Has there ever been a point where you kind of let your emotions say a kid's being cocky or kids arguing with you that they don't get the correct call because of kind of the attitudes that they have towards you?
Yeah, so before every game, we start off with a captain's meeting. So we tell the captains that if you want to talk to the official, you tell the captain, and the captain comes over to the official. And, I mean, if a player wants to talk, I don't talk to them unless it's a question. So if they come over and say, that was a block, I'm going to ignore them. But I try to put all my attention towards the coaches and give my respect to the coaches, because that's not what matters, but they're going to be the ones that are acting more professional than the players. But I don't know. I feel like I try to stay away from all of the players, and if there's anything that goes with like the offensive player and the defensive player, I try to get in the middle of that and handle it as a crew.
Yeah. So in terms of obviously the rules for NBA are different than the rules for college, which are different from the rules from high school. But at a high school level, are there any rule changes that you think would actually better the game?
In terms of
either
like college versus NBA, or
yeah, like maybe if they're setting people up for success when they do go to the college level, or if there's just some rules in high school that don't really make a ton of sense.
I think that varsity players, the varsity game should all have shot clocks. I think that'll speed up the flow of the game. nothing. That's not too big of a
That would
deal.
be huge. What would they put it at? 30 or 25?
I mean,
What do you think?
The private schools and like the post grad, those all do shot clocks. Like PVI, all those Oak Hill Academy, they all do shot clocks because those are the kids that are going straight to college, like on D1 scholarships. But like St. Stephen, St. Agnes in the area, they do shot clocks. I'm trying to think. I just think that NBA officials need to be a lot more consistent. I'm not trying to harp down on the NBA officials, but it's
Well, you got to understand,
bad.
Spencer, their job's a lot harder. They've got to officiate the game and cover their gambling spreads at the same time.
I mean, what is his name?
Donnie.
Yeah. Oh my, that's horrible.
Spencer, we got another question for you from the audience. Says, can we get rid of the 5-second count already?
The closely guarded count, is that what he means? Probably.
The 5-second count when you're inbounding the ball?
Why should we get rid of that?
That apparently he doesn't like the rule.
What do you guys think about the rule?
I agree. I mean,
I like it. I feel that in the heat of the moment, it does seem like the 5 seconds go a little bit faster than it should.
I try to avoid it as much as possible. Like 5 seconds is like probably like 6 or 7 to me. Like it's like one Mississippi too. Like it's long.
okay.
But
Give them the extra breathing room. If they get the penalty, they really deserve it.
yeah, I mean, there's closely guarded count. That he could mean that, but
He is. Yeah, he commented the closely guarding 5-second rule.
yeah, I mean, that's just so the player doesn't hold the ball more than 5 seconds. Like if they catch the ball and they got the guy in front, like the defender is within 6 feet of them from the front of their foot to the front of the other person's
6
foot
feet.
or the offensive player. That's the
me.
closely
That's a
guarded
lot.
count. And if you put the ball on the floor, then that whole count resets. So I mean, it's not like you can't hold the ball for more than 5 seconds. Every time you put the ball on the ground or every time you stop your dribble, it resets. So, and a lot of people don't understand that.
I didn't. For the powers that be, though, if you've got any control over this, you let them know our audience listeners aren't happy with it.
About what?
Just that rule. About negative feedback from our audience on that rule, so you know.
Oh, yeah.
We'll put up another poll. Do people like it or not?
I honestly don't agree with the 3 seconds in the paint. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that.
Yeah.
The
I
offensive
try
or
to avoid
defensive?
that as much as possible. I try to talk them out of the paint rather than call that because that's just a game interrupter.
Are we talking offensive or defensive or both?
In high school and college, it is offense. In NBA, it is offense and defense.
Okay. Well, I mean, the argument is that you're going to have a huge guy just camping down there.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
It makes sense on offense for me.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about, obviously, the fundamentals are extremely important and what seems to be kind of trending in the downward direction. Seems like a lot of kids are, with Steph Curry's and James Harden's and some of the really popular, exciting basketball players. It seems like the youth is kind of forgetting fundamentals and practicing fadeaways and
Naismith rolling in his grave again.
yeah.
Are fadeaways a fundamental, Will?
I would say
Well,
when we're doing step back around
the step back.
fadeaways.
The step back is an anti-fundamental. It's a pseudo travel, right?
A little bit. It depends on how you do it. If you do it James Harden's way, it's probably going to be a travel 90% of the time.
Well, all right. Let's get into the what do they call that? The act of picking up the ball or the act of the gathering, I believe they call it.
The gathering of the step, in quotes. Yeah,
If
I
you
never
could explain that
understood-
to me,
I never understood it. I'm sorry, but I don't. The NBA is completely different than than what college and high school goes by.
I've watched videos of James Harden, people breaking it down in slow motion and telling me it's not a travel, and I actually agree with what they say. I think we got to change the rules
I've seen some of the videos, and it's like he loses the ball on the way he's on, like his step back.
Right, exactly. So that's all part of the gather.
And I guess it's not a travel, but these kids in high school and college are not doing that.
Yeah.
What's the worst thing you see as a ref, like on a game-to-game basis? Like what are you annoyed with that you're tired of kids doing?
That's a good question. It's a good question. Probably
Well, that's your hesitation means it's a good thing.
The talking between players, between teams, needs to stop. I mean,
but like trash talk.
Yeah, there's a lot of trash talking.
Negative language too. Is it to get dirty out there, or is it?
Not so much negative language, but it's just like a little bit of taunting, getting people's faces. Because taunting is a direct technical foul. But I mean, that's something that they can control. Like the flow of the game, which like the players' actual like abilities. That's not something that they can change, rather than just like being better at basketball.
I remember when KG called Charlie Villanueva a cancer patient because of his alopecia, and he explained after the game he wasn't calling him a cancer patient because of physical appearance. He was just calling him a cancer to his team.
I remember that.
KG throwback. I don't know.
I was never a fan of KG. You're probably a fan because you're a Boston.
Yeah. Yes. I like KG, but
yeah, he's probably lost a lot of brain cells smacking his head against the hoop every game.
Probably. I never understood why he was so good from shooting with 1 foot inside the 3-point line and not good at shooting threes. It was a little bit frustrating to an otherwise perfect game.
I feel like we're losing the art of the pump fake. My head coach would always tell me, Will, you have zero jumping ability. The other team can jump much higher than you, but give them one good pump fake, they'll jump through the roof, and then you can just lay it in. Shout out to Alan Foskey, great basketball coach.
I like that. Good advice.
I mean, that goes back to the fundamentals, and I think that we need to go back to basketball 101 and teach some of these kids that you don't need to go between the legs all the time. You don't need to put the ball behind the defender's back, or it's just one simple crossover, one simple like hesitation move to the basket. Like it's that simple. A screen and roll. And I don't know if you realize this, but in college basketball, when was the last time you've actually seen like an inbounds play?
It's not often. I feel like if I do see it, it's for like a alley-oop dunk attempt.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point of an inbounds play is to get a score off the inbounds. And these people are just throwing in the ball, giving it to their big man because he's the tallest person on the court. Point guard comes around, and then it's just they set up their offense.
Is there anybody in the NBA now who you would say fundamentally is sound that you like as a ref? You're like, oh, I love this guy's fundamental game.
Oh, you probably know. I love Luka Doncic.
Oh, thank God, yeah.
Luka Doncic. He's like the sloppiest ball handler.
You should be a Mavericks fan.
Mark Cuban is a great owner, and I can't believe. I mean, Trae Young is good. No one is as good as Luka Doncic.
You should just go be a Mavs fan. It's just so much easier. Just go.
Said no one is as good as Luka Doncic. No one.
Porzingis.
Oh my gosh,
dude, we've had this argument before. I thought it was we put it to bed. Luka is better than Trae.
I can see the argument on that. I think it's still too early to tell. We were talking about career.
He's averaging like 30, 10, and 10.
He might win the MVP.
Yeah.
In his second year.
Yeah. It's unreal.
You would take him over LeBron?
Oh, long term.
At this time,
he's saying right now he's the best player in the league.
It's close.
You would take him over Anthony Davis? You take him over Kawhi?
Kawhi? I don't know about Kawhi. Kawhi, he's a beast.
Dude, he's a claw.
His defensive game is the best in the game.
Best fundamentals all time, Tim Duncan?
I mean...
Mr. Fundamental is his name.
Bob Cousy. I feel like some of the older point guards were like, Pistol Pete Maravich would always do all these crazy drills.
Okay.
Those are just drills to get him better, but he's not doing any of those drills in the game, I feel like.
Yeah.
I mean, but he can. That's his thing. Like it's Pistol Pete Maravich.
I'm a strong believer that like all these like Steph Curry, James Harden, these guys that are doing these crazy jump shots and ball handling moves, I would argue that they all have extremely great fundamentals, which allows them to succeed at such a high level. I think the problem is with the youth, they're starting out doing all these really hard ball handling drills.
It's been a running theme for us lately. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Let's do it correctly first and then do it fast.
I agree. People are going behind the back, between the legs before they can even like dribble the ball.
Yeah, we used to have practices where you could no dribbling allowed. You have to run every play with no dribbling.
My dad coached me all through like AAU and travel, and if we weren't passing the ball, if we were dribbling way too much, he'd deflate the ball, give us the ball. You can't dribble. All you can do is pass. It's like a 3-man weave the entire court.
Very boring practices. I hated those practices. They're probably the most helpful ones.
But they make you better.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
They make you better.
Spencer, what do you think in terms, you follow the NBA pretty closely, the players from, say, the 90s, like Jordan era, compared to the players of today's game? You were mentioning earlier you think Scottie Pippen can lock down a Kevin Durant or a LeBron or, some of these top scorers now. You really think with all the training and the rehab and all the nutrition, all the gains we've made over the past 20 years, that those players would still be top competitors in today's league?
I have a belief that the players back then, they did it for the love of the game. And they did it. They played every single game with heart. And in this day and age, everyone, I feel, is just doing it for the money. And, Scottie Pippen was a great defender.
But I think
best of all time.
I think that makes Will's argument a little weaker here in that, I think the defense pre-1998 was so much better then than it is now. That when we're looking at one thing like defense, where if we looked at shooting then compared to now, they can't compare to the shooters of today because the game has changed.
The game's changed, right. Exactly. So now you can't be, if Scottie Pippen played as physically as he did, got away with more physicality with defense.
Sure.
Because anytime you go to a rec league now, you got big guys like me who don't have the skill anymore. We're going to be more physical with you and try to rough up these, and kind of get in their heads a little bit. That can equalize the game a little bit compared to today's game's all about skill with how they're calling it.
Scottie could figure it out.
And back then, I feel like I didn't watch a lot of basketball in the 90s, but because I was born in 97, but it seems to me like they played with a lot of defense, and yes, there was offense, but every single play they tried their hardest, and I've never seen an NBA season like this, that they're constantly putting up 160, 150 points.
It's the 3 game though. They used to go to the basket. It's a different game. You don't go to the basket anymore.
And that's why I love college basketball so much more. I really haven't watched a lot of NBA this year.
I think if you look at Scottie, I think he looks a lot like Andre Iguodala, who's been one of the better defenders of the past couple of years in the NBA.
I agree. Yeah.
Similar games.
I think we have some of the most offensively talented players ever. Back then, didn't have as many players that were strictly offensive and strictly defensive.
I think it goes to the changes in the game. I think it's easier to play offense now. It's because they want points, they want scoring, gets people excited. It's easier to shoot the ball now than it is then, so I think that's what it's developed. Just people are better shooters now because that is what wins games. You win. Shooting a high percentage is very, very helpful in basketball.
Yeah, it used to be get as close as you can in the rim to score. Now it's...
I heard someone talk about Dr. J, and Dr. J, shout out, best player to ever go to the University of Massachusetts. I don't know who Mason's greatest player ever was, but Dr. J wouldn't be great in the NBA today because he just never shot. He just went to the rim every play.
We got a comment here. Old school Pistons would lock down these ball hogs. But again, it goes to if you're playing in that, what era are you playing in? If you take LeBron and put him back in the 90s where it's really physical, he might struggle quite a bit. Because he's only been grown up on...
And that's why you can't go with the Jordan-LeBron comparison just because Jordan, there was a lot more defense than there is now.
But if you look at Jordan compared to Curry for shooting, Curry's statistically a much better shooter. But I think if Jordan was in today's game, if he was playing today, he would be developing a better shot. Jordan would be an amazing shooter in today's game, I think. Because I think that's what he would work on. So I think it would adapt if you may have moved him to a different...
Oh, yeah. I think Jordan is one of the guys that he could play in any era. He's incredible.
Right.
But I think if he were to play at the same time as, put him in today's game, he would be a top player. I don't know if it would be a surefire thing that he's the greatest of all time.
I think it would be. I think he would just develop his game to play in today's game better. I think he would be working just on his shot because he'd become a shooter because that's what the best players do now. They shoot. We can get a rebuttal on the greatest player who ever played at George Mason University.
I have no idea. I have no idea who the greatest player.
Maybe he's on the roster now.
What's that?
Maybe he's on the roster now.
It could be A.J. Wilson, but, Otis Livingston was probably one of our best players, and he just graduated.
I think you're thinking of Sean Livingston.
Too.
But anyway, you wanted to.
I have no idea.
We're giving your Mason rant time. They're what, 9-1?
10-1.
10-1. Is this the best start in a while?
This is our best start in school history.
Who did they lose to?
Some University of Maryland. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Them.
The old alma mater.
If that's our one loss, I don't know if you guys keep up with, like, have you heard of, like, the Ken Palm rankings?
Ken Palm.
I don't know.
Nope.
It's some guy's name is Ken Palm, and he makes rankings based on point differential and how much you blow out a team, how much you lose by, the strength of your schedule, and all of that stuff. And Mason's like 120 right now, and we're 10-1, and our only loss is Maryland. So I don't really get it, but.
Well, division games start this week. That will prove true. You've beaten some cupcakes, we'll be honest. I know you beat Nebraska, but there's a couple teams in there that I'm not even that familiar with.
I mean, we beat New Mexico State, which they make the
the
tournament
Lobos
every year.
The Lobos, right?
Lobos, Albuquerque. I was there. I was in Lobo country last month.
I mean, I watched that. Spencer, you were at that Maryland game. I was watching it. I watched the whole game. The first half, I mean, you guys hung with us. I think you had a lead for the good portion of the first half.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have the talent to do it. I mean, you didn't put it together for a 40-minute game. Maryland's been starting out slow against all teams, then putting it together. But, I mean, there's no reason after watching that game that you shouldn't feel confident that you can compete with anybody in the A-10.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of teams in the A-10 that are pretty good this year. I mean, you have Dayton, who you guys are probably familiar with, Obi Toppin.
Yep.
Dude, he's
lottery pick.
Dude, I've seen him projected in the lottery
top 10
now.
pick. Yep, top 10 pick. And Dayton is, I think, 10th in the country right now. Or they're 14 right now, but they're going to move up. And then
Second coolest name in the A-10, by the way, Obi Toppin.
What's that?
That's the second coolest name in the A-10 right now.
It's the coolest, yeah. Who's the
there's a
Mitchell?
No, there's a point guard on Rhode Island named Fats.
Oh, Fats Russell.
Yeah,
He's actually really good.
Yeah, he's awesome. His name is Fats.
He's probably one of the best point guards in the A-10, yeah.
He took it to Maryland.
He's a junior or senior at Rhode Island. But, I mean, VCU's always good. They have Marcus Evans. You have Duquesne, who's undefeated, one of the 4 unbeaten teams in the country right now. But, I mean, they've had a really easy schedule. And then Richmond, actually, one of the kids on Richmond, the point guard, who's a transfer, I played against him in AAU and travel. So
they shoot lights out, right? Richmond's got like 3 point guards that just shoot.
Some good shooters. I think Gilliard, Blake Francis is the kid I know, and then they have Grant Golden, who's their big guy. So
give us your statement. Where do they finish in the A-10? What's Mason do this year?
Before the season, I was hoping we'd go 500, and I think we would go 8-8. I think you play 16, but yeah, I was hoping we go 8-8. Now I'm hoping we have 4 losses.
Okay.
And we finish top 4.
Good but humble. All right. And then you try to rumble in the tournament always and try to ruffle some feathers in March.
Exactly. I mean, I hope we can make the tournament. The A-10 tournament I think the only way we get in the tournament is if we win the A-10 tournament. Because you get an automatic bid.
Very likely. But that's what I'm saying. It's all if you're the top 4, you got a chance to win it.
Yeah, and then I'll be happy with an NIT selection.
Yeah. UMass, we're rebuilding. We got all freshmen playing, but it's exciting. You even know Trey Mitchell.
Yeah. He's good.
He's a big guy with touch. Get excited.
What do you guys think about my chances of winning fantasy football this week?
What's going on right now? So Spencer
I'm
needs.
pacing around the TV right now, and I just see Jared Cook making catch after catch.
So you're now projected to lose. It's 108 to 120. Is it still the first half?
Oh my goodness! Oh man.
Yeah, Breeze put up 17 first half points, and Jared Cook has 5 points.
Breeze just tied the all-time passing touchdown record, Peyton Manning. So he's gonna throw one more because he's got to break it, right?
You're looking 12.
Probably.
All of a sudden, Team Smith is looking
Cook's
good.
not doing a ton though. Cook's got 4 for 54. Where are we? We're at the end of we're at halftime. It's halftime.
All right, but you think they sit Breeze if they're up by 27?
He's got to throw one more though to get the record.
If he throws one more, makes it 27-0. Do you think they put Bridgewater in?
No.
In the 4th, probably. Yeah, in the fourth, run the ball. Come on, they're up. They would be up. That would make it 27-0 if you're in the fourth.
Saints are still one of those teams that they're up big and they're still going to throw a bomb. They're going to run it.
I don't know. Give it to Taysom. Just give it. I don't know.
Do you guys own Kamara in any of your leagues?
No, I'm going against all Saints. What you need is the biggest thing for me. I also need Breeze and Cook to not do anything, but I've got more breathing room than you. I need them to.
My brother told me to play Tyreek Hill right before the game over Eckler, and I didn't listen to him.
Yeah, there's no looking back now, Spencer. You can't play fantasy that way. It's all moving forward.
If you're going to be upset at one person,
stick with your gut.
Julian Edelman, 0.9 for you.
Yeah, but you can't not play him. That was. I think he was hurt and he was trying to play hurt. It's like that's.
I don't see many leagues you're going to sit Tyreek Hill though.
Yeah,
you have a good team.
I benched Butker, the kicker for the Chiefs, because they were playing in the snow, and he got 10 points. I was like, what?
You got to go. That's still a smart move, though. You got to be careful with the snow.
Yeah,
I guess it hurt you because it slowed Mahomes down enough where it got them into field goal range, and he wasn't scoring as many touchdowns.
Well, he wasn't kicking the extra points, and he was kicking like 30-yard field goals. Didn't make sense.
That's how it breaks. You're still up 18 with only a half a football to play. I don't think this is a lock for Team Smith yet.
12.
Oh, is it 18? Is it 1
Oh,
or
no,
2?
12.
120?
My arithmetic skills are poor. It's 12.
So the winner is going to be facing me, and I think I'm more scared of Team Smith.
Thank you.
Dude, Jameis is another easy matchup next week. He's going to go for 32 again.
I meant to mention this. It's Will, are you giving him any crap for Jameis?
I keep saying it wrong still? People have commented.
I think we both say it wrong, though.
Jameis.
Jameis.
Famous Jameis.
Isn't
Jameis.
it?
Yes, you're right. I think one of us started saying it wrong, and we've just been following the status quo of listening to the other bumbling fool.
Mr. Winston. So we'll
Mr. Winston, Jabu. He goes by Jabu, Snow Crab Claws, Famous Winston.
Well,
Good.
I still want my money back. So next week I would play you, Mark. Right?
If you lose, yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Do we have a third place money back?
Yep.
I didn't know that. You can. I don't play for third place. It's first of all.
It's interesting because that was your idea to give third place money back.
I don't remember that, but that's okay.
I said it's so weird that a $20 buy-in that anybody would get third place should not get money back, and you're like, third place always gets money back.
Yeah, it's worrisome that I'm not remembering that.
Maybe you're worried about your team.
Hey, I'm a broke college student.
Yeah.
Yeah, you deserve to win. Your team, I think you led the league in points, so.
Here's to being a broke PT someday, Spencer.
Okay, if you could, this is my question to you. If you could do anything different, what would you do differently?
For what?
About PT.
If we could change it?
Yeah.
If we had we had the magic wand.
Like your journey to be a physical therapist. Is there anything you would have done differently?
Yeah, I'll give him good advice. Spend as least little money as possible when you're in school. Keep the loans minimal. I didn't spend a lot, but try to live with your parents a lot. Only drive used cars.
I just got a new car. Thank you, my parents. Appreciate it.
Don't eat out. Ramen noodles are fine. I know we could talk about how they're unhealthy for you later, but for now,
you're doing all this now.
Yeah, well, I'm telling Spencer to do it on the early end then.
Now you know why the shoulder's not good, Mark. You're eating ramen noodles.
You do your best to stay healthy. There's got to be a balance with everything. Save your money.
Spencer, live it up now while you have the student loans, and they'll kind of pay for you, because once you get out, you're going to be poor for a long time.
They come back at you.
Oh, man.
It's okay.
And don't rely on loan forgiveness programs.
To keep on going through PT school.
Yes, we'll get you in a good loan forgiveness program. We'll get you set up.
But I think if I could change one thing about the profession of PT or something about that, I think it would be that we don't have to rely on physician referrals quite as much for insurance companies to approve.
You guys have direct access, don't you?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, but what you'll learn, Spencer, is that a lot of the big companies, especially hospitals, have specific contracts with each insurance company. So while we have direct access, our contracts with Aetna and Cigna and all the main providers require a physician referral.
I think that's all that's company based though.
Oh, it is, yeah. But I'm sure if it's that way for our big company, it's that way for a lot of different companies. So it's like you have direct access, but you can't really utilize it unless you're a smaller.
Yeah,
company.
I just feel different. I think you can utilize direct access. I think companies might not always want direct access too, in that it's better for them to have referrals because then the entire health system is being used more. I think you can do okay on direct access. Virginia is technically a semi-access state in that we do require referral after 30 days if there isn't a change in the patient. But
I mean, with Medicare population especially, it's required you need a physician referral and signature on your signed plan of care. It just seems like they're sending the patient to you for your expertise. You're going to have to tell them exactly what you're going to do and have them sign off.
So I don't think the autonomy, I think if we look back in the past, I feel like the autonomy has made unbelievable strides. We need to be proud and thank you to the APTA. You should have a membership because that's the only way we can support our field itself is to put money toward, we don't have money in Washington compared to other fields. So they've done a great job at getting us direct access. I think I want to give them credit for that and say, but yes, more autonomy would be better. I would agree. Let's keep pushing the envelope. Go APTA. Get out there and support them. If any of Spencer's friends are listening to this, please, understanding the importance of supporting our national representation in Washington. I mean, we can't make any of these changes if they're not supported.
Do you go to the VPTA meetings at all, Mark?
I haven't, but I will be
giving a lecture at one of them soon.
Coming up. Yeah, so that hopefully I make some connections there and I can be a little bit more involved with it. Have you been to some, Spencer?
No, but we do have. So we have like our class council, and we have two APTA members, or like APTA member. We're all APTA members, but two people from our class that represent the APTA from our school, and they tell us like when the meetings are for the VPTA and everything. So when you do have that guest lecture, let me know and I'll try to. Because some of them are pretty local. I mean, I think Winchester. They had one at our school. They try to do them at like physical therapy schools in Virginia.
Yeah, I'll let you know. So, you can.
Yeah,
I think we're going to videotape it. So if you can't get to it, we can get you connected with that. It'll be a cool lecture.
Awesome.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for joining us, Spencer, and good luck in the second half. And hopefully
you pull through.
Yeah, hopefully I'll play you next week.
Keep up the good work at PT school, and keep us filled in on what's going on with you.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
Great. All right, great perspective on some back to school basics for us, and
to be young again,
to be young again, and I like the ref stuff too. I think we should keep picking his brain on that.
Yeah, we should. Overall, great stuff. So we'll post. We got one poll on Eli Manning, should he be in or out of the Hall of Fame?
And what was the other one?
The other one was the close guarding. Should we eliminate the 5 seconds close guarding rule in basketball?
Okay, let's put them up. We'll see what people say.
Put them up, have people.
And we were supposed to have Babbage this week, Jessica Babbage, to talk about Chelsea. That's what was some technical
PT, yes.
Yeah, technical difficulties with that one, so we couldn't get her in. Great to have Spencer on. Do we have someone? We're going to get back to Jessica at some point, but I think do we have someone scheduled for next week?
Still in the works. We have a couple interested people. We got to figure out if the time works for either one of them, but we'll hammer it down, and we'll get a post out on the Facebook page. So if you have questions about that for that specific guest, you can send them in too. And remember, always send any health related questions, PT related, to willandmarkshso@gmail.com. It's on the Facebook page, and we'll answer them on the pod.
Perfect. Over and out. End of podcast.